A client asked me to make floating frames for a couple of large paintings she has. They have this cool shadow reveal all the way around, which makes it look like the art is just floating inside the frame. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these gallery quality float mount frames. As with most projects, I started with a little research on the YouTubes and found a couple videos by Michael Alm that helped me figure out how to make these frames. I downloaded a free worksheet from his website that helps you plan out all the details of a picture frame before you start cutting. I had some weathered white oak with this beautiful gray color left over from another project. It looks like I'll have just enough to make these two frames with pretty much no room for error. What woodworker doesn't love that kind of challenge? These are pretty rough boards, so the first step was to put a straight edge on one side and to plane off just enough to make them flat-ish. Inevitably, with reclaimed wood, you're going to have some boards that don't want to cooperate. So I hot glued a shim under one corner on a planer sled. While I'm at it, I might as well also bring these backing pieces down to thickness. Then I cut all four sides to final width on the table saw. It should go without saying that in order for your mitered corners to line up, the opposite sides of the frame have to be the exact same length as each other. But I went ahead and said it anyway. If you can use a stop block, do so. But these frames are too big to fit a stop block on my miter sled, even with an extended fence. So I have to rely on carefully marking the second piece. To make the hidden splines, I stuck a short side and a long side together with double-sided tape and used this 45-degree jig on the router table to cut a mortise about 3/4 of the way through, starting from the back. On the other side of the miter, I had to make a plunge cut first and then finish the mortise by moving the piece to the left out the back of the frame. I hope that makes sense. This short side is going to give me some problems because of this big knot. I'm going to need to address that if I want this frame to stay straight. So it was off to Menards to get some clamping cauls. I went to the electrical aisle to get some strut channel, also known as Unistrut. At my store, they come in two sizes. You can get a 2-footer for 12 bucks, or you can get a 10-footer and cut it to whatever size you want for about 29 bucks. Then I brought this piece back to alignment before filling in the knot with brown CA glue, which works basically the same as epoxy. I gave it plenty of time to penetrate all the way through, coming back periodically to add more glue until it stopped absorbing. I cut a dado in the back of the frame to receive the backer boards that the canvas will mount to. Now, I don't have an assembly table or a work surface big enough to accommodate these large frames, so I had to get creative, and I used a combination of my table saw and an adjustable sawhorse. I have plans to build an assembly table slash outfeed table slash workbench eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I'll be sure to let you know when I do. I'm also working toward putting together a video showing how to make my adjustable sawhorses, and I'll have plans available on my website. Hopefully soon. To dry fit the frame together, I stole the corners off my strap clamp and put them on a couple of ratchet clamps. Then I marked out and cut the backer strips one by one. Isn't that gray color amazing? Can you believe this is white oak? Before gluing anything together, I need to make sure that the canvas will fit properly. So I flipped the whole dry assembly over so I could do that. I saw Michael Alm use these handy spacers in his frame video, so I picked up a set for myself, and I'm glad I did. By the way, be sure to check the description below this video for any of the tools or gadgets I used in this build. Using my affiliate links is an easy way for you to support my channel, and your support is greatly appreciated. To make the floating tenons or hidden splines, I used some scrap Purpleheart, because what else am I going to use it for? It's that fancy detail that no one will ever see. Filming a glue up is tricky business because time is precious, so I apologize if my camera work isn't the greatest. I put the first frame together with the back facing up. For the second frame, I decided I wanted to be able to see how the front side was coming together. While the second frame is setting up, I can get the first frame ready for finish and lay out all the hardware holes. I reinforced the back slats with small pocket hole screws for extra strength. Not sure if that's necessary, but it made me feel better. Adjustable sawhorse to the rescue again for sanding support. I sanded up to 220 grit before applying General Finishes water-based poly in satin, another Almfab recommendation. It dries pretty fast, so I was able to get a couple of coats on in the same day, sanding with 400 grit between coats. Once the frames were cured, I made a comfy protective bed for the canvas to lay face down while I attached it from the back, putting 1/4 inch spacers in the corners before flipping it over. I used brass wood screws to attach the frame because I think they add a touch of class. Another fancy detail that no one will ever see. Except for you, of course. Now I'm going to teach you how to tie the hanging wire so it looks professional, and I'm going to show this part in real time because I think it's important. You need about a hand width to go through the D-ring. Poke that through from underneath and then bend it over the top. Give yourself plenty of slack on the other end. Tuck the working end under the wire from top to bottom and give it a tug to snug that loop. Then bend it over the top of the D-ring again and tuck it through. Then you're going to poke the working end through the loop under the D-ring right next to the long wire. And then you're going to poke the working end through the loop under the D-ring right next to the long wire. Sorry my hands got in the way for this part. Hopefully you can see what I did as I'm pulling it through. It helps to use a needle nose pliers for this. Then pinch everything together so it looks nice and neat. Then crossing over the top of the wire, wrap it tightly, at least 6 wraps. But you can keep going until you run out of wire. I'll speed this part up a bit. Then snip off the end to tidy it up. Easier said than done, I guess.
Jeez.
There we go. Don't forget the little plastic bumpers on the bottom corners. Another detail that makes these frames gallery quality. Thanks for watching Brett's Basement Woodshop.